This is to give you a timeline of the things that happened since this man moved in, which I'm getting ready to put a fence in here. I had to put a privacy fence up here to stop him from coming over in my yard. He cut out all these bushes when he first moved in. And it appeared to be so he could step over into my yard easier. And back there, that fence belongs to the woman behind him that's also single. I'm single. And he cut down all the bushes that were on her fence, and he actually stepped onto her property to do it. That's a utility easement back there that does not belong to him, but he cut everything down back there. A 50-year-old rose bush he got rid of. So here's my property stake right here. And then on the other side of this fence that I put up to try to stop him from coming through, because I saw signs of somebody coming through, and this tree back here was damaged. This cedar tree was damaged. And at the back of it, like somebody was standing there pulling the limbs apart. And then this is a Rose of Sharon hibiscus. You can't see it very well. All the leaves fell out off of it, like somebody sprayed something on it. And so one of the first things he did was he asked me I had about 6 pieces of this pipe right here, drain pipe, that I needed for myself, but trying to be friendly to him, I gave it to him. And just trying to extend the olive branch and get along with him where it didn't get along with Gilman. So he put it on this pipe right here and drained it down through here. Water was still coming into his, rainwater was still coming into his garage, and I'm sure that garage stinks from mold. So without asking, and the first thing he did when he cut down them bushes is I had a wreath back there that I'd made out of grapevines, and he threw it away. It was hanging on my side of the property. And so that was the first indication that he didn't have respect for other people's property. When I asked him about it, he said he didn't know where it was at. So he didn't know what happened to it, he claimed. And so then he asked for the pipe. He took those 2 pieces of pipe, put it on that white pipe right there for drainage down through here. And then I saw this cedar tree was damaged right there on the back, and I noticed it, and there was blocks piled on this side of his side of the, and there was a trash can shoved up into their property back there, not on his property. It was behind the property stake. These lots are 150 foot, and it was shoved up behind that stake about 2 foot behind it. So it was basically on her property. And he was using that trash can to steady himself. He had the block sitting there and then had the trash can to help him get over. And I watched him get up in the back of this truck the same way. And I thought, yep. So because I saw signs of somebody coming in the yard and damaging my tree, I confronted him after I saw the blocks piled there and said, I'm going to put a privacy fence back there because somebody's coming through from your side. And he pitched a fit, cussed me out, F-bombs. And so then, before that happened, before he cussed me out, before I confronted him, he actually got another piece of pipe out of my yard without asking to come in my yard and put it right here on the other side of that chair. You can barely see it sticking up right there between that block and the concrete driveway. I don't know if you can see it, but it's black right there. Right there. I can't really point it out, but you can see it. And so he buried it all the way over towards her driveway. Instead of pointing it back to the back and letting him go in the back of her yard, it goes right to her driveway. And so any water coming from here goes down there to her driveway, which is crazy that he would even do that. But he made it right. I mean, I saw where he dug it and buried it, and he made it right over here, about 10 foot. And I mean, just inconsiderate. So I confronted him, told him I was going to put a privacy fence up. He pitched a fit, cussed me out, because he actually told me after he buried it, he said, hey, by the way, I went and got another piece of that pipe and buried it right here for drainage to get this water out of my building. And I felt violated, like I'd been raped, because knowing that an old man, 75-year-old man, was in my yard without asking, and I already suspected that he'd been coming in my yard at night, when I painted my back door and was back there taping at night, having the door open, I felt like somebody was watching me, and so I put a shower curtain type thing up over the storm door. And then is when I went to the back and looked at my tree at the back of it, and the tree was damaged, where somebody looked like they'd been standing there pulling the limbs apart to watch me. So creeped out by him totally, and he tried to start a fight down here one day with hey kitty, hey baby. He tried to start a fight down here one day. I had somebody working here, down here in this yard, down here, and he came out here, got his wife to come out and started cussing about Trump, trying to provoke some kind of argument. Hey kitty, where are you going? Where are you going? Little kitten, so cute. It's so cute. Anyway, so then when I started on this fence, he came out there and walked right up like he was watering his plants, which they're dried out and his whole yard is dried out. I had somebody come and deliver this. I'm just giving a timeline of events. I had somebody come deliver this trailer to me. He came out, tried to get him in his yard. He did pull him over there. Like, look at my trailer, I got it for sale. And he did that with a roofing guy, pulled him over in his yard. He just makes everything about him. Every time I have somebody over here, he's running outside trying to take over the conversation. So I had this delivered after we had the fallout and he cussed me out. I had this delivered. I'm going to be doing some drainage work with that. And I talked to the man for a while about work I need done. And he got out here with his blower and started, dry as a bone grass. I know this looks bad. It's not finished. But it's a redneck mess. I'm just trying to keep him from coming through there. And at night, he then turned off this street light that could light up this area and show that he's out here. But he got out here with a blower when I had this man talking to him right here in his truck about the work I need done. And he got here with his dead grass and dirt everywhere and started blowing dirt all over us. So when these guys were here putting the fence in, he come out here, act like he's watering these half-dead bushes he's got. And then he started cussing me out, just cussing me out. And so I just, finally I had enough of it and started yelling back at him. And the guys that were working wanted to leave. So this is not finished yet. Because of him, it didn't get finished. Because he was out here upsetting everybody, and they all got upset, very upset. And they just tacked it, and they're going to come back and fix it. So, but he got out here cussing them, and they wanted to leave. They're like, we don't want to get involved in this. And so he finally said, well, I'll go in. I'll just leave you alone. So, he has been one pest, and I have suspected him of knowing more about this situation than he's telling, because he has come running out the door just like Gilman and just like Randy did. Like, he knows when I'm coming out the door. And so that day I confronted, we started arguing, and I said, you came in my yard and got piped without asking, and I wasn't explicit on that. He said, you were standing right here and gave me permission to get it. I said, yeah, and he started talking over me, and I couldn't really say what I was going to say. The 2 pieces that he got and put right there, yes, I gave that to him. But the 3rd piece is what he came in my yard and did not ask to come in my yard and got it. I didn't give him permission to get it. I probably would have, but that's not the point. I felt raped because he'd been in my yard without asking. I came in his yard right here to organize these rocks that I was going to be using for something, putting large ones, medium, and small ones. And I asked him if I could come in his yard and, deliver those rocks right there. And he said yes. But he equates that with having permission to come in my yard without asking. I mean, that's how messed up he is. And so he cussed me out that day. The next day, and every day, every time I come outside, he'd come running outside. And it was almost like he had access to whatever camera that Gilman might have had in this house, this meth dealer right here. Because he told me, I got a camera in your bathroom. You don't look too good naked. I got cameras all in your house. But in the end, God showed who he favored, what he thought about this man who is now dead. But it's almost like he's got access to these cameras and he knew what was going on when he came in. Because just like this, you see these sticks right here? I just got through putting 3 or 4 right by my back door in my laundry room. He gets some just like it and takes them back here and sets them out there. Is it connected? Maybe not. Do I believe it is? Yes. Because these are some wicked, evil men that live in this neighborhood. Very wicked and evil. Randy Davis across the street, he has access to whatever camera it is because he comes running out the door 30 seconds to 4 minutes before I walk out the door. He's out here waiting on me. That's exactly what Gilman used to do. 30 seconds to 4 minutes before I'd get home, he'd be outside waiting on me, one or both of them. And now that Gilman is dead, Randy is carrying on with it, and he was doing it all the time until I started posting videos about it. Videos that people do not understand, but this is the thing. It's showing the proof of linking these things together. This man was mentally ill, was an informant for the police, and of course he would have access to figuring out how to put cameras in my house. He was paranoid. He told me things I said on my telephone, and I believe Randy Davis is listening in, and I believe he's listening in with a scanner. They can do that, listen in on cell phone conversation with scanners. So this man has done wickedly, so he pitches a fit and pulls those off, and that's not the point. Then he goes and acts like he's going to dig up the other one, but he doesn't get it up. And acts like he starts talking to this woman over here who is in cahoots with him. And then here, let me show you this. He sits here in that chair that's by his garage. He pitched a fit about my cameras, and the cameras have caught him doing stupid stuff. This is one thing that's caught. You see that woman's windows right down there? She's got curtains open in her dining room and in her living room. And he sits right there in that chair at night looking in her windows. I've seen him take the chair and go right over there and be right next to her windows. He's cut down all those bushes so that he can see. He'll open his curtain in his bedroom at night and pull the curtain back just like hers is pulled back. And I guess they enjoy looking at each other. I don't know. People are so stinking weird. I've got plans to do stuff down here. It's just I've been pestered. But look, he threw this up here. And that wasn't even the point. I gave him this, and I was not taking it back. I didn't